Hello, my name is Alexandru Plăcinte. I'm a master student at EPFL in the data science program. And in this presentation, I will talk about user expectations of conversational chatbots based on online reviews. Throughout this presentation, I will start the discussion with the motivation, then I will briefly explain the structure of the study and the techniques we use. Finally, I will conclude with the results and implications. To begin, let's define what a chatbot is. By a chatbot, we understand a machine agent that interacts with the user via natural language. They are widely classified in two types: task-oriented, that help user achieve a specific goal, and open domain, that do not serve a specific functional purpose, but try to become a virtual companion to the user by engaging in social conversation. While task-oriented is currently the most representative type of chatbot in industry, open domain chatbots have started to emerge for mass market platforms such as Google Play or App Store just recently. It opens the opportunities to study user experience with real chatbots instead of conducting in the lab experiments with prototypes. With this approach, we aim to provide insights into how well the user expectations align with the current chatbot's social capabilities and propose implications for designing more engaging experiences. For the aim of our study, we decided to analyze user experience and expectations based on online reviews of open domain chatbots taken from Google Play. First, we created a list of 16 sufficiently diverse conversational chatbots for the analysis. Second, for the previous identified chatbots, we collected the available user reviews, including textual feedback and the numerical rating that the user assigned to it. Next, we applied some filtering procedures to retain only the reviews that meaningfully reflected user thoughts about chatbots. At this step, we split our analysis into independent parts: experience and expectations. Each part entails its own steps, which I will describe in more details in the upcoming slides. Finally, the findings of these two steps allowed us to synthesize the design implications. While studying user experience, we focused on chatbots' conversational skills and social qualities. Our main interest was to establish how these aspects influence user satisfaction. To compromise resource constraints, we conducted the analysis using a representative sample of collected reviews. To pull useful concepts out of the data, we employed open coding approach. Overall, we produced 4 categories of code as follows. Chatbots' social skills describe both positive and negative aspects of the conversation experience. Affective satisfaction describes the sentiment expressed by the user in the review and serves as a complementary descriptor for the numerical rating. Personification specifies the way user refers to the chatbot in terms of its name and pronoun usage. Social role encompasses how the user perceives the chatbot. After we took 2 different directions, we performed a statistical test and a regression analysis in order to study the effect of these social dimensions on user satisfaction. Considering chatbot's social skills, we performed a regression analysis for user sentiment and star rating. In these plots, every bar is associated with the weight of a specific issue or asset, identifying its effect on user satisfaction. The models demonstrate consistency in the effect of different features, validating the reliability of the results. We can notice that issues describing chatbot social skills have a negative influence on user satisfaction, while assets influence it positively. Intrusion into personal space is deemed as the most detrimental property of the existing chatbots, while on the contrary, their ability to keep company of the user is the most appreciated quality. Coming to personification and social role, our findings indicate that these 2 factors also play a dominant part in defining user satisfaction. Chatbots with a name and a human-like role receive higher ratings compared to their counterparts without a specific identity. Our next step was to study user expectations in order to evaluate how they align with user experience. The analysis consisted of 3 steps: lexical filtering, coding, and thematic analysis. Since not all reviews express expectations, we devised a lexical filtering pipeline in order to retain only the appropriate reviews for further analysis. The process, including identification of keyword phrases that indicate expectations, topic modeling, and heuristic n-gram filtering. Then, we proceeded with the coding. During the process, a lot of reviews were discarded as they expressed user wishes about the technical aspect rather than social ones. As a result, 260 user reviews remain. Finally, we conducted thematic analysis, and in total, we identified 26 codes that belong to 8 larger themes. We present the emerged themes in the next slides. One of the largest themes that emerged is that users expect more social involvement from their chatbots. First of all, users expect chatbots to memorize information that they share, as people typically do while developing a friendship. They also want chatbots to acquire and demonstrate new knowledge, to extend the range of topics for discussion and foster shared interest. Furthermore, users wish their chatbots to advance their proactivity skills and get more involved into the conversation. The next pronounced theme in our analysis is empathy. It encompasses both the abilities to recognize the emotions of a person and express appropriate emotions in return. Users expressed a need for chatbots to better understand their emotions, given that they frequently reach out to chatbots to release their negative thoughts and receive non-judgmental support. It is especially critical for chatbots to accurately identify users' negative sentiments and treat them carefully. Additionally, many reviews explicitly called for chatbots' ability to express more emotions to diversify their unnaturally supportive behavior and appear more natural. The final set of emerged themes describes the user desire for existing chatbots' abilities to evolve further. Specifically, many reviews in this set ask for their more distinctive personalities with a specific persona. The next theme concerns the topic of politeness and social norms. While at the beginning of user interaction with a chatbot, its rude and provocative behavior would most probably hurt the user satisfaction, after establishing the social connection, some users prefer their chatbots to get more cheeky. Finally, last theme relates to the entertainment aspect of the user experience. Users want chatbots to keep developing their sense of humor and engage in more advanced entertaining activities, such as playing board games. The presented analysis demonstrates that initial promising steps have been taken towards creating natural open domain conversational agents. However, existing chatbots seem still incapable to adhere to more advanced social protocols. To assess the discrepancy between user experience and expectations, we leverage the PEACE model, which defines 4 key qualities of conversational chatbots: politeness, entertainment, attentive curiosity, and empathy. We separately mapped the codes describing the current user experience and expectations to the dimension of the PEACE model and compared their distributions. The plots demonstrate that politeness and entertainment are the only 2 social qualities broadly integrated into available chatbots, while attentive curiosity and empathy comprise the most significant user expectations, which illustrate the existing gap. Building on top of these findings, we synthesized the implications for the design of future chatbots. The 5 guidelines read as follows: design politeness for trust building, enhance entertainment to sustain engagement, add empathy to ensure trust maintenance, learn to personalize, and assign chatbots persona for greater acceptance. To learn more about these implications, we invite you to check the respective section in our paper. To conclude, our work presented an overview of social skills of existing open domain chatbots and their influence on user satisfaction, as well as elicited user expectations of future chatbots. These findings allowed us to evaluate the gap between experience and expectations and produce the guidelines about how to endow future chatbots with greater social intelligence. Even though in our study theoretical saturation was reached, we suggest that future works practicing similar research approach should consider more robust coding process to cover larger sample of collected data. Furthermore, more attention should be paid to the fact that online reviewed data is subject to various biases, and developing appropriate control mechanism would be beneficial. Finally, we propose similar studies to be conducted for other platforms and user cultural background. Thank you for your attention, and now we would be happy to take your questions.